Can he hear you?
Bonnie Johnny, everyone. This is Professor Alman Ra, Professor Emeritus, California State University, Long Beach Africana Studies Department. Along with my co-host who will be joining us shortly, historian Joe Hembrick, longtime coach and educator for Compton and Linwood Unified School District, as well as outstanding historian on the history of African people throughout the diaspora. Secondly, we want to thank Brother Rashaki Maskani, who is provides the platform for the Conscious Corner. And we want to also welcome all guests that chime in. We have a very, very outstanding guest this evening. One that is a personal friend, him and his wife and his family. Former NBA, or who we consider a superstar with the Boston Celtics, drafted in as the 17th player in 1974, I believe it was, and in the first round, and played overseas in the Philippines, as well as an outstanding star, known for really shutting down Raymond Lewis, and I think that was about 1972 or 73 at the Long Beach Sports Arena. Just an outstanding defense player, made the last 8 points for the Boston Celtics in the 1976 championship that led them over Phoenix. And just an outstanding worker at Cal State Long Beach, where he retired from work, and he coached the Sparks, the LA Sparks, assistant coach for the LA Sparks, as long as, if I'm not mistaken, coaching all over, but where he is loved and beloved. I met a guy while I was getting my treatment for dialysis who was a Filipino, and he adored, all he could talk about, he didn't think I knew Glenn Donald. That's how much a star he was in the Philippines. So we want to welcome Glenn. He's going to talk to us about his journey from South Central Los Angeles to the NBA and to the Philippines, and the ins and outs that goes with that travel through Cal State Long Beach, from Jefferson, who high school, all the way up to, as I said, the NBA, and then the Philippines, as well as coaching the Sparks, as well as just being a beloved individual and respected individual on campus in the pros, and as a family man, and as just a respected brother all around. So we hope that you enjoy this session. So Glenn, just tell us a little bit more, if you want to add anything, and about your journey from Jeff, where someone convinced you to play, and then how you got to Cal State Long Beach, what it was like to play for Hall of Famer Jerry Tarkanian, and what it was like. We went to his memorial, and we went to all of his services. He's a Hall of Fame coach. So just go ahead on, Glenn, and let you take it over from there.
I think I'll just close out. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything. No, I really appreciate you getting me on the show. Rigo has tried to get me on a couple different times, and he knows that I'm not one that like to get out and speak and things like that too much. But then when you called me, I'm like, oh Lord, Rod, they called me. I can't back off. I can't do that, So, but I appreciate you having me on your show. It's I don't know. It's a funny journey to a degree, because I came to California in when was it, 70, right? 60, 64, 65, from a little town in Illinois called Kewanee, Illinois, which was, and I was just looking it up the other day, and it was a small town, and it's still a small town. It's 12,000 people, and I came from there. I was born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. then, you know, we moved to Illinois where my mother was born. We moved there. And then from there, we came to California. You know, we came to California basically right at the, kind of at the end of the Watts riot, you know, which I was devastated basically because, like I said, the little town I came from, you didn't hear about all the, you know, like, you know, the fires and riots and, you know, different things like that. So when my mother had come out to California to visit her sister-in-law, she came back and she said we were going to move to California. Could be a better opportunity for jobs and things like that. And I'm like, I saw it, I was looking at it on TV. I said, I'm not moving there. All this fighting and fires and no, we're not moving there. So she said, no, you're moving there with me because you're the man of the house. You got 3 sisters, so you have to go with me. So, you know, of course, we come out to California, and I just kind of got into sports. You know, and my mother really, she loved seeing me play sports. So when I got out here, my punishment to her was not playing sports. I was like, well, I'm not gonna play no sports. We're gonna go out to California. You know, I'm not gonna play any sports. You know, so don't ask me, you know, about playing sports. So we get out here, and the first day of school, she walks me down to Carver Junior High School. And I told her that was the wrong school. She said, what do you mean that's the wrong school? I said, this is not a junior high school. She says, this is Carver Junior High. She shows me the sign, Carver Junior High School. And I'm like, there's no way this is a junior high school because everybody was sitting on the outside, outside in front of the school. You had guys that supposedly my age with beards and mustaches. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What am I getting into? What do you bring me out here for? You know, the first day of school, when I do go, this guy approaches me and asks me where I'm from. So I said, I'm from Kiwani. I said, I'm from Kiwani. And he said, hey man, ain't none of us in Tijuana. I'm like, Tijuana? Well, I don't know what's Tijuana. He goes, so a brother I just met on my block, he came over and said, hey man, he's new. He just came, he's from this little town in Illinois called Kiwani, Illinois. So I go by, I said, why do you ask where I'm from in the first place? He said, because you wear these high water pants and that's the businessman. I said, what the hell is a businessman? He goes, that's a gang. I got home that night. I said, hey, Mom, we got to get some new clothes. She said, what are you talking about? I said, they think I'm in a gang because I got these short ass pants on. You know, so that was my first introduction to California, to Los Angeles, you know. And so I ended up, you know, I had a good time at Carver. I met some good people and, you know, then ended up going to Jefferson High School. And Jeff was, it was different. It was basically all Black. And I'd never been in a situation like that. The school I went to back in Illinois, you know, it's all white, basically all white. You had like, you had a sprinkle of Black people, you know, within other students. But those students, they didn't seem like they were Black anyway, you know, because they're like light skinned, you know, and there's just, you know, they just didn't seem.
Bro.
All right, Coach McDonald froze up. Rod, you still there? Yeah, you there?
Yeah, I'm still on the set, and DeAndre and Cinda.
Yeah, well, while Coach is, I guess he is signed back on. I'll call him in a minute if he doesn't come back. It's probably a Wi-Fi issue, but while we waiting on him, I could tell you a little story that transpired when I was developed. Well, I had the website and I was I'm always looking to do more on the website. So what happened was I thought about Coach McDonald, interviewing him. And I said, you know, he's, to me, such a real good guy, you know, one of the best, oh, he's back. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll tell the story later. All right, Coach.
Are you, it's just you and me?
No.
No, that's everybody.
Oh, okay, I'll see. Let me see if I can, oh, okay, all right. Okay,
All right.
well, I don't even know where I was.
Oh, it probably just was he just
He's talking about
disconnected.
where he was talking. You were saying that you had just went to Carver and that you had met a lot of good people. And when you went to Jeff, it was all Black. but where you was coming from was.
Oh, okay,
right?
okay, yeah. So it was just it was a different situation completely. It was like you could say cultural shock because I had never been around that many Black people in my whole life. So it was just a whole different situation there. But it was good because during that time there was the movement going on, and they wanted us to get involved with the Black Panthers, and a lot of us, the guys I had met, they wanted to join basically, to get involved because they knew that they were out within the community trying to promote, what we needed to do as far as Black people. But then the majority of the guys I was around, the only reason they wanted to get involved with was because they said, they had pretty, they had pretty girls. They said, man, we can get in there, man, we find us some women, da 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 da. And then until they got in it and saw that these sisters weren't about that, they're about the movement. They ain't about hooking up, So that was a good experience for me, especially because, like I said, I got a chance to get involved with some people that you saw that cared about us as people, not just, the athletes and, those type of things. So, but I ended up getting involved with basketball because I'd play on the playground all the time, but I never played in any type of organized sports. And once I got to high school, everybody was asking me if I was going to play because, they could see I knew how to play. And I didn't start playing until I was like 12 years old, just in regards to playing basketball. But I picked it up pretty quickly. And then when I got out to California, I said, let me just play, with friends. But then they told me that if I wanted to know if I was going to try out for the team or not. And I was like, no, I'm not trying out for the team. And then all of a sudden that's when they had the JV, the varsity JV, the B's and C's and, those type of teams. They told me you probably wouldn't make the C team in the first place. So right there, that was a challenge. And the guy that told me that, I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and go out for the team. And because he was a starter he was a starter on the team. And so I just went in and took his place, so that's what it was about. I was like, okay, you're going to tell me I'm going to play, you're not going to play because I'm going to take your spot, and so it turned out to be just that. And our coach, Larry Hansen was our coach, a white coach, coaching all these Black kids. But he just had a knack. He had a way to deal with, with Black kids. And I guess he had been there for so long, it was just a habit. He knew how to, work with us, knew what would keep us going, what would make it where you give up or you don't give up. So I appreciated him as a coach because, he pulled everything out of you. He challenged you day in, day in, day out. He challenged you. And, we had a couple other people, like with Sam Robinson, of course, he played there as well, but he was there a few years before me. And I'd met Sam before, and he told me that, this guy is a tough coach, and he's going to make you work hard. And but we were going to be good. And we ended up being extremely good, during that time. I think that one of the big things with me was that coming from Illinois, I had a different mentality in regards to academics. I was focused on academics, but once I got here, it was just so much going on, so many things going on. And I didn't focus the way I was supposed to, especially when I got into high school. And I started getting recruited. And the thing about that was that one day my coach told me that a lot of these schools are coming after you. They're interested in you, but you're not going to be able to go to none of these schools. You don't get your grades up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, well, you're not going to be able to, because you're going to have to go to class. And I said, I'm going to college to play basketball. I'm not going to, what are you talking about going to class? Because no one had ever talked, all the different people I knew that went to college from like basketball scholarships, no one ever came back in the summertime talking about classes and all this kind of stuff, right? I did not think you had to go to class. I thought when you got a scholarship to play basketball, you go there, you play basketball. That was it. And so I told him that. I told my coach, I'm going to play basketball. I'm not going to go to no school. And he's like, oh, you need to come in here and sit down. We need to talk. So he finally explained to me everything about, what you need to do. about getting a degree from college, and you have to have a certain amount of GPA to stay eligible to even play in college. And so I've ended up getting real focused so I can make sure I can get into somebody's college. But I honestly, because nobody in my family ever went to college. And so, I had no clue. I thought that's what you did when you get a scholarship to play basketball. That's what you did. You went to college to play basketball. And then in the summertime, you came home. And then when school started back, you go to college, play basketball. And that was my understanding of the whole thing. And even though we had great counselors there and stuff, no one had really sat me down and talked to me about that, until fortunately I did mention it to them that, I'm not going to play, to go to school. I'm going there for basketball, because otherwise I really would have never, focused on it. And I never would have got to where I ended up getting to, and then Jerry Tarkanian started recruiting me, and, those type of him, and Ivan Duncan was the assistant coach. And, so we finally were able to get that taken care of, and I ended up at Long Beach. So it was just kind of ironic that, you don't know what's going on unless someone tells you, and so, like I said, without anybody from my family going to college or anything, no one ever had a clue. They just knew, oh, Glenn might go to college and play basketball, that type of thing. So, but that's the beginning of, what ended up happening with me, and, being able to go to Long Beach State, get there, and Jerry Tarkanian, was the coach, and I like Jerry, and he passed recently, and but I like the way he did with his players, but at the same time, I didn't like the style that we played when he was the coach, because we had so many great athletes, but we had to walk the ball down the court. I was so jealous when he went to Vegas. They were flying up and down the floor, running gun, but we still were successful, and it was mainly because, we had great athletes, but we had great basketball players, great minds. And you, Raw, you were instrumental in his success totally.
You must be kind.
Pardon me?
I said, you must too kind.
No, not too.
Wow, man, that's amazing story right there.
But I think that but Raw, you, the things that you did for him, not just on the basketball court, but for you to be able to bring players in that you knew that you were, if not better than, and recruit them and bring them in as recruits, knowing that they're probably going to play ahead of you. I don't know if I could have done that. I just don't know if I could have done that, and that's why it shows you, just because of what you've done, even just for that part when you were a student, and now you carried on how you've helped so many students throughout, Long Beach State and Compton, and, you've helped so many people. That's one of the reasons I said, okay, I'll do this. Because I have the utmost respect for you.
Oh, you must be kind, brother. You still there?
I'm here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we lost Rigo. Oh, he's back.
Oh, yeah, he's there. Well, Tark was very persuasive, and we did a lot of things, and it was a movement on campus also. And he wasn't, he was very conservative.
Right.
And so I had to, man, he will all say, man, I don't know whose side you on, sleep, I said, man, because they were drafting people, and they had a big rally on campus, and I just told people, just don't go. I ain't going, and that just blew his mind, that I broke up the rally, the demonstration, by saying that, because it was a setup. But that's a long story. But being Tark, I love Tark. I had to get more out of Tark than he got out of me, because he double practiced you. He practiced us. All he did was eat your basketball. He ate basketball, and he loved the game. He loved the coach, and he'd practice us all day. And but he didn't know I was going to graduate on time with my class. Because no other player was doing that, because, man, I saw the politics, like you just said, that we win the championship at junior college transfer our first year. And the next year, he wanted to change the whole team to superstars that he had recruited.
Right.
And and many of them had not played with each other, even though we were successful. You understand? And there's a lot of contradictions. But anyway, I didn't care. You know, I started focusing on academics then to get out of college on time. But the thing is that when you and I think, did y'all play freshman ball then?
Yeah,
With
we had to play
with
freshman.
Duncan and Dwight Taylor was before you.
Right.
And I think Ed was before you.
Yeah, he's a year ahead of me.
Yeah, Ed had broke all them record scoring and stuff. So we had built a culture when you came of you know, leading up to where you was
Definitely,
going at Cal State. And as far as practice and as far as an attitude of expectation to win, you know, I mean, because it wasn't, you weren't just the only good player on the team.
No,
There were
exactly.
always good players. But go ahead, Glenn.
No, but it was a situation. That's just like, well, we had George Gervin.
Yeah. Yeah, you drove him to the airport.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I rode with him.
Oh, okay.
But that was the story, the situation. I mean, we were bringing good people up in there, you know, just, you know, Larry Fogel from New York, George Gervin, you know, just Tommy Henderson. There was a bunch of different guys that were coming in there. And George, though, you know, of course, he's the main man. I become the Iceman. And he was there. They brought me in there with George. George came in there and we were going to the gym to play. And I'm looking in the gym, I'm watching everybody balling out there. And George is coming down there, finger rolling on people and dunking on people. And I asked Ivan Duncan, he was the assistant coach. I said, Ivan, I said, who's that dude right there? He says, George Gervin. I said, what year is he, a junior or a senior? He said, a freshman. I said, what? I said, are you kidding me? You brought me in here with him? You know, I ain't afraid to be honest. You know, the boy could straight out go. I know he was better than I was, but we ended up being really, really close friends. He stayed there for like about 2 months, almost 2 or 3 months, and he just got homesick. He had a friend of his that played football, and he was homesick, and so George decided he wanted to go home. He's like, so he had one of our players, because George Trapp and Tark had to go to a conference, to a meeting, you know, one of the media meetings, and Tark told this guy Eric McWilliams to watch out for George. Whatever he wants to do, do it. Well, George says he wants to go home. He needs to go to the airport because he's gonna go home, but he'll be back. That kind of stuff. So he's like, Glenn, man, you gonna ride with me? I said, no, man, I ain't riding with you. He said, no, come on, man, ride with me. I said, all right, I'll ride with you. So we get to the airport and he gets out of the car and he goes, all right, man, I'll see you later. Good luck, Glenn. I'm like, what are you talking about good luck? He says, man, I can't come back, man. I'm sick. I got to stay in Detroit. And that was the end of the story right there, you know. So everybody said, I took you to the airport. I didn't take you to the airport. But we laugh about it because I see him every year, you know, at different functions, you know, retired players functions and the All-Star games. And we laugh about it every year. You know, he's like, man, remember I told you I wasn't coming back. I said, boy, you just dogged me out. So, but anyway, that's a long story short. I had a good career at Long Beach as far as the playing, because coming from Jeff, I averaged around 29 points a game at Jefferson, you know, and then I got to Long Beach, and we had to play a freshman, you know, the freshman team, and you know, he still averaged a lot of points there. And then I got to varsity, and Tark wasn't even using me initially. He was like, you got to sit. We got Ed scoring. We got this person. We got Chuck Terry. We got, you know, so I was getting like 2 or 3 minutes a game if I'd get in. You know, when I get in, it'd be like 2 or 3 minutes. It used to be near the end of the game. And so we finally played University of Pacific, and this little guard, John Earhart, lit us up for like 36, just lit us up, you know. And we had to come back and play them the very next weekend. And the guys on the team were like, because, you know, at Jeff, you had to play D. You had to D people up at Jeff. Right? Regardless if I scored a lot, you had to D up, or else you weren't going to be on the floor. And so a lot of the guys on the team were like telling Tark, Glenn can guard this kid. So anyway, that's what happened. He put me in the starting lineup just, for defensive purposes. I held him to 6 points. He only got 6 points. And from that point on, I was in the lineup as a defensive person, So that's where the playing time, happened with that right there. And so from that point on, I was known throughout the nation as the defensive player, Glenn McDonald defense. Whoever we go against, they always try to make that matchup. Glenn's going against this person, that type of thing. And so it worked out. And then when Lou Olson came in after Tark left, then Lou was like, I remember you in high school. I want you to start looking to score. So then, I went from 3 points a game to 15 points a game, but still playing defense. And rarely did I ever come out of games. And that's why the Celtics like what they saw in regards to leadership and those type of things, And that's one of the reasons that they looked at me to bring me in, and then kind of to take Don Chaney's place, because Don Chaney was, the defensive specialist for them at that time. And, it just worked out in that sense. I don't know. It's just ironic how everything falls in place for you.
When you was at Jeff, they played regiment. Is that right? Your team have a good 9 points, and then the next team come in, they had to hold their team to 6 points, or another team come in. Is that the way Hanson did? Yeah, that's how Hanson did it. What we'd do, we'd have a scrimmage the day before the game, and so then depending on how the score was, if it was like, say for instance, like 15-6 at the end of the game, then that's what would happen in a real game. You would go in, and if a team scored 15 points against you, then you had to come out. If they scored, then the other unit would go in. If they scored 6 points against them, that's the most they scored, then they'd have to come out. And there were times where the first unit would almost sit on the bench almost the whole first quarter, because I remember one particular game where the defense they couldn't allow 4 points. The first unit, we sat on that bench almost the whole first quarter, because they were not going to let that other team score 4 points. Because as soon as they score 4 points, they're going to have to come out. And they're like, we ain't letting them come in. We're not going to let them come in, So, but it was an incentive to make people play hard, especially on the defensive end. And that's where they played back east. They went to 9 points in full court, and that's why. Okay, I never knew that. Like that. Yeah. We played mainly half court 3-on-3. Right. In LA, in Hollywood, they call us the Hollywood teams. But we didn't very seldom play full court when we was coming up at the parks. Who got the first, who got the second. But back east, they played full court, but they only went to 9, and then you had to play defense, because 9 buckets, and that was it. Quick, that can go real fast. Yeah. And now, Glenn, when you was at Cal State, with y'all won the championship the 3 years you played, right? Varsity. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yep. So what was that like? You played with Poindexter them, and yeah, sure did. Yeah. And Olson said that the team that he had with you, Leonard Gray, and the Poindexters was, after he went to Arizona, he said the best team he ever had was that team, but they couldn't go because y'all was on probation. In those days, they didn't let you go to another school if you was on probation. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Tell us how that experience went. There was it was interesting because we were ranked 3rd in the nation, and in the preseason. And right before the season got ready to start, they come up with all this stuff about recruiting violations, and everything else. And they actually, like I said, they put us on probation. They just said we wouldn't be able to go to the tournament at the end of the year. And that was Lou's first and only year. And we were good. We were really good. And then we had the little white kid, Rick Abereg. He was our point guard, and he was in his own world. He could straight out play. But with myself, and then Roscoe, Clifton, Leonard, we had a team.
And the thing about that group is that anybody could score. So everybody just really, really played together. There was nobody, when Ed was there, it was everybody was focused on getting the ball to Ed, you know. And I mean, he was extremely good, so, but that was just the way Tark had it. That was the way it was, because even when Lamont came to play at Long Beach, he was a JC All-American, and he came in, and the first 3 or 4 games, Lamont was leading the team in scoring. And then all of a sudden, Tark told Lamont that Ed's the one who should be getting the ball. He just kind of took Lamont's minutes from him, and which was wrong, because the boy was actually playing his butt off. It wasn't like we were losing; we were still kicking butt, So it with this team that we played with, the ball was distributed throughout the team, and everybody could just play. You never knew who was going to go off what night, and that's what Lute, instilled in us. Let's just play team basketball, move the ball. I'm not saying that Glenn should be the one that's shooting the ball. I'm not saying that Roscoe should shoot the ball. We're just going to play. We got to play as a unit, and everybody's got to have faith in each other. And that's what really, got it going with us. And we lost 2 games that year. We never lost. My whole career at Long Beach State, we never lost at home. And then, on the road that senior year, we lost 2 games on the road. Each was by 1 point. We lost to Marquette at Marquette by 1. Then we lost to Colorado, by 1. And I've always told Luke even before he passed away, I always tell Luke, you blew that game for us, because you never took nobody out the game. We couldn't even breathe, but it was, we had a really good team. It was just something we focused on.
Now, when you was with Tark before he left to go to Vegas, you played 2 seasons with Tark. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Was it zone and man-to-man, or just straight zone?
It was primarily zone. The only time we played that I can recall that we actually went to a man-to-man was the year we played Raymond. Mm-hmm. And I told Tark I wanted to guard Raymond, because I heard so much about Raymond Lewis, even though he was a Verbum Dave, he was in the CIF, and I was at Jeff in the city, that type of thing. I never ever saw him play and never heard of him. I just heard his name all the time. And Tark was in love with Raymond Lewis.
You tried to recruit him.
Yeah, we tried to get him in here, and but I said, Tark, let me guard him. He says, "Oh, Glenn," he says, "Okay, he's yours." And so, at the Long Beach Arena, I got a chance to guard him, but I still didn't guard him for very long, because he did something. Now he did something. He did a step back or whatever, and had me off balance, and I went to contest the shot, and my whole arch fell. My foot just.
Remember when you got hurt?
Yep. And so I was out. I didn't play the rest of that half. I didn't play the second half. He ended up scoring, that was his first shot that he made, because I blocked 2 of his shots, and then what happened was he when he made that move and he buried that shot, because I remember I looked over my shoulder as I was trying to limp to get to it, and I looked over my shoulder and the ball went straight through. And then from that point on, he ended up with 26 the rest for the game. Then we played him again at their place, and it was the very next week. And I ended up playing. We ended up playing a zone against him, and I think he got 52 or something like that. Yeah, but it was one of the best shows I ever seen as a player, as a spectator. Yeah. And the last shot he made, he fell in the stands, and it was, unbelievable. Just he was at that time I compare him, as far as talent wise, to he was a Kyrie Irving back then already. Mm-hmm. He was that kind of player, just could do anything with it.
Yeah, he was. I was a freshman coach that year. Tark had me, and I don't know if you remember Happy, the heavyset guy.
Oh, Happy, yeah.
He passed, and so I became, we were co-head coach, but then he passed before the season started. And then I became the head coach by
Yeah,
myself.
that was pretty devastating with him passing away too.
Yeah, in the chair or something like that. But it was good. Now, Glenn, when you got drafted, you were 17th player to be
Yes,
chosen in the first round.
right.
And they said that you were happy to be drafted at the 17, but you really wanted to go to the Bulls.
Yes.
Because you was from Illinois. That's what
Yeah.
they said.
No, it's true. I mean, because I grew up in Illinois and I didn't like any LA teams. Just the fact that I, came out here from Illinois. And then I hated Celtics because they always won. And I was always like an underdog kind of guy. So when I got drafted by the Celtics, Dwight Jones was the head coach he was assistant coach at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in and told me that he called me up and said, Glenn, you just got drafted by the Boston Celtics, first round to the Boston Celtics. And I told him, I said, okay, thanks for letting me know, but I'm in the middle of moving right now, so I'll call you back. And he was so pissed off. He's like, did you hear what I just said? The Celtics just drafted you number one, on their first round. I said, I know, but I'm moving right now. I'm going to another apartment. I'm trying to get this stuff done. And so, but that's how I was I really was not ecstatic about the Celtics drafting me. I was glad I got drafted, but I would have, then plus I was getting ready to go from California to the East Coast. It's just like, God dang, but then once I got back there and went back there just to visit and talk, with the contracts and all that kind of stuff and negotiations and walking through the garden, I was like, man, this is something else. Maybe I might get a chance to get a ring, so you just kind of, nothing's going to happen. It's going to happen where you're going to be there. So there's no need trying to pout about it. But, it turned out to be a good situation, but a bad situation in regards to, the way that they released me, with Tommy Heinsohn. And, it was just kind of unexpected. But, I mean, guys got a plan. I always say that, there's a plan. And, my plan was maybe get my foot in the door, see what the NBA felt like, win a championship, and then now what are you going to do now? We're going to release you. So are you going to mope and not do anything, or are you going to try to move on and find something else to do? So that's how I kind of looked at it as much as possible. But it was ironic because we had just won the championship. We came back to Long Beach.
You wouldn't have won if you hadn't scored them last 8 points.
No, I know. Yeah, but they don't care. It's like, but we won the championship. We come back to Long Beach. Renee and I get married that summer. And I go back to Boston and get cut. I'm like, oh shit! I gotta take care of this girl. I ain't got no job. So I was like, this is crazy. So she just enrolled and she was going to Boston University at that time. So then Don Nelson was assistant coaching over at Milwaukee Bucks. So one of their players got hurt. So he brought me in there. I was there for like about 2 months, until Dave Myers, that was the kid from UCLA, he got hurt. So I got involved with that for, a couple months. And then finally when he came back, I was released. And then I came back out to California and, I started, I was delivering beer, working on beer trucks. Everybody like, man, you working on it? I said, you damn right. I got a wife to take care of, man. I don't care. I'm working, and because I didn't get really any calls from others teams. And I think a lot of it was because, I was playing so sparsely. At times I'd play a lot, then I'd get some kind of injury, a sprained ankle, or I'd pull my shoulder out, so it was just certain situations that didn't, give other teams a chance to see me really play, consistently, where they could say, well, this guy might be able to help. And then plus a couple of the other teams that did look at me there, they ended up having basically everybody on their team was on guaranteed contracts. So they weren't going to give, that up. So that's how that happened. And then all of a sudden I got a call from Ivan Duncan, who was my freshman coach, and he was coaching in Sweden. And he said, I know you're probably tired of hearing everybody asking you what happened. You want to come over here. And so then I went to Sweden. I went over there. I asked Renee if she wanted to go. You want to go on a second honeymoon? and she's like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, I told her what was going on and had a chance to go to, to Europe. And so we ended up going over there for a year, to Sweden and playing for Duncan's team. So, and then, after that was over, because we were the European champions. And so we played in the Europa Cup. So you traveled all throughout Europe. And so
listen to this. So.
That's your buddy Omar Montgomery. He's on.
What's up, Omar?
You're on mute, Kumba.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
McDonald, how you?
How's everything with you?
I'm doing great. Still in Colorado, enjoying life, and just got back. Had a retreat in the mountains, so just got back.
Boy, you're the mountain man, huh?
Nah, trust me, I'd rather have been in the city, but
I hear you.
That's where the retreat was. So, how's the family?
Everybody's doing real well. Everybody's doing well. My daughter, she's still living here in Long Beach. She's the assistant athletic director over at UC Irvine. And then my son, he's back in Boston. He lives back there. He's got 2 kids back there, and he's doing real well. So everybody's doing well. And Renee. She's taking care of business as usual, taking care of me and everybody else. So.
All right. So, Coach, we're going to open up the floor for people who have listened up to this time. You have any questions? Anybody that want to chime in and ask Glenn any questions? Rashaki?
Yeah, I just wanted to continue what I was saying. Matter of fact, let me show this. I'm going to show what inspired what Coach McDonald was an excellent coach. He was basically like a caregiver to a lot of the players that came into Long Beach State when I came in back in '86, and he was our assistant coach. And he just cool, calm, and collected, and he took care of a lot of us. So when I had started doing this, I said, I got to get Coach McDonald on here. And what had happened was I started thinking about what more I could do with the website. And what happened was I thought about Coach, and I said, you know what? He's a legendary guy. So I said, I need to put in a legend section, and he's going to be the first person I put in. And then I asked him, and he said, he would do it. But we kind of we didn't get a chance to really put it together. So I just did the Legends page, and I just want to show everybody on the website, we have a Legends page, and I'm going to get Coach McDonald on there. And I have, different personalities on there. And it's based on people that really good people. And of course, Professor Amon Ra's on there, my parents on there. We have Omar here. We got DeAnthony, we got Ernest Hall, we got Brother Hembrick. All of them are worthy of being on there. So we're going to keep adding people on there, and we got to get Coach McDonald on there. So I just wanted to say that he was the inspiration behind the Legends page on the website. So I'm gonna I'll let other people talk and ask him questions.
Brother Ernest Hall, you have any questions for Coach McDonald? Can you hear me? What about you, DeAnthony? Are you there?
I don't know. I think it's mute. Somebody, it looks like it's mute. I don't know.
Yeah, he's mute. Well, we'll go with Hembrick. Joe, you just came in. This is my co-host, Glenn. He coached at Linwood, and Coach was the first head black coach at Linwood High School.
Okay.
Yeah, and administrator for the Compton Unified School District. Go ahead, Joe. You have any questions?
I just tuned in. No, I don't have any questions. I just remember the brother's name from back in the day.
Okay.
I remember that name, although I didn't know him.
Okay.
Cats in Long Beach that he played at Long Beach State, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Boston Celtics and
Yeah, I know he was a pro and all that. I had a guy I used to coach with named Ron Pritchard that was at Long Beach State. That was during the time where I think you might have been going.
yeah, he's coached football, right?
No, he coached football. Let's see, Pritchard was what's that game? That big high school game they played back at not the Shrine game, but game they used to play at the Coliseum. All the high school stars. I think he was the running back there for that in 1963, and then he went into service.
Mm.
He was at Long Beach State when the big running back guy was there. What's his name?
Leon
Yeah,
Burns.
yeah. He was
Yeah.
doing that time, but he was playing tight end during those days. He went into service and got out, and then went to Long Beach State. Yeah, but I don't have any questions. Like I said, I used to remember hearing the brother's name, although I never met you or anything. But I do remember the name well.
All right, Coon, but what about you?
No questions, but just want to tell Glenn just what an inspiration he was when I was on campus. I'm probably the group that came in after Rico, and
Right.
I didn't play basketball, but to a lot of the black, especially a lot of the black students, you know, anytime we walked in the gym or walked in the gym area, just your presence, your family presence, just the way you carried yourself, you mentored so many people and just always gave us a collective, calm way to be able to address issues. So I just want to say personally to me, thank you for all you taught me and always being hospitable when I showed up to a game and just, you know, your whole family, you know, I always sat with y'all when I went to a game.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wanted to say thank you for everything.
That's
All right,
no problem, man.
But Glenn, you know, you're really being nice about the Boston Celtics because that was a period where racism and discrimination, and in the early 70s, there was a lot of white ball players. And a lot of, you don't see it like you see it today, almost all teams having black players.
No.
And even when we was playing for Tark, Georgetown, Temple, and all of them, and SC them, they didn't have predominantly black teams. And so when the Celtics cut you for no reason, most people felt they were just making room for a Caucasian to play at that time. I don't know how accurate that is.
No, it's not accurate. In regards to that, they felt that what they did with that release, they brought Curtis Rowe and Sidney Wicks in. Mm-hmm. Those are the players that they brought in when they released me, and they told me that, right when they were released, first of all, as time went by later, one of the assistant coaches a few years later, he had talked to me and he just told me, he said, for some reason, he said he doesn't understand, but for some reason, Tommy Heinsohn really didn't like you. So, I mean, I said, what the hell are you talking about? He says, no, he said, no one he's never ever, but I know for a fact that he didn't really like you. And he felt that, bringing Sidney Wicks and Curtis Rowe, bringing them in because they're from a, championship breed with John Wooden, that they would help bring this program, to this time. So we just won the championship. So what the hell are you talking about? And so, he says, I can't tell you, but I know that Tommy Heinsohn did not like you, and so I don't think in regards to the racist thing, I don't think that wasn't the reason that he released me, to bring in a couple white boys or anything like that, because honestly, he brought Wicks and Rowe in. I told him when he said that he was bringing them in, I told him right then, I said, you know something? They're not Celtics. I said, let me tell you right now, they're going to play for themselves. They're not going to play for the team. And that's why, like Dave Cowens, Dave Cowens didn't even play half of that year because he didn't want to play with them, because of how they approached the game and how they approached the supposed teamwork. he drove a taxi around, that year, almost half a year. Just he didn't play. So I know for a fact that with my situation, it wasn't so much with the racial situation, honestly. But I mean, it was definitely that way back in Boston. I mean, you can't say that wasn't happening. There's no way.
Well, what about when you went to the Philippines? How was that?
That was first of all, I didn't really want to go initially because I just, when I kept talking, a guy kept calling me saying that a friend of mine that said he played in the Philippines. He says that's a place you should go. You'd have a great opportunity there. And the first thing I was thinking was, I'm not gonna go over there and play against midgets. I mean, I just finished playing in the NBA. I just finished playing in Europe. Why am I gonna go play with midgets, in the Philippines?
Mm-hmm.
So they kept constantly calling me. And so finally, so let me just go over there and see what this basketball is about, because the guy kept saying, it's not what you think, Glenn. It's not what you think. And so I finally get there, and there's Filipinos staring me eye to eye, and a couple of them I was looking up to, the style of play was running gun. So it was a situation. I'm watching these Filipinos coming down, dunking on other Americans. It just, it was amazing just what I was seeing and what I was watching over there. And I finally just said, something, I think this would be fun, and it's a whole different style of play. And I decided to go over there, and I signed a contract with them and ended up staying over there for 6 years. I was the first first NBA player to ever go over there, and play. Former NBA player. And then, after we won the championship my first year, we did never won a championship. And then the second year we won another championship. And then my third year, we ended up in the finals, but we didn't win it. But I was a player coach at that time, because after our second championship, our coach decided to retire, and they made me the player coach. So I played and coached. And then after that, I told him I didn't want to play anymore. I wanted to just coach, because I wanted to get ready. When I get back to the States, I want to coach when I get back to the States. So I wanted to get that experience of being just a coach. And so that's when I got back there, and that's when DeAnthony came in his freshman year, and Billy Walker, and then Rigos. So it was everybody. So that's when I got a chance to get involved with the coaching in the state, on the state side. But the cultural aspect of it was unbelievable. It was just great. Just the people there were friendly. They really catered to the Americans. It was when you never know what's going on in other countries, and then if you don't study those type of things. I mean, I'm looking at grass huts, that type of stuff, and so I was like really skeptical about the living situations. And then I get over there, and you think you're in Beverly Hills someplace, the homes that they had over there. We had a car with a driver. We had they call them yayas, but for the kids, they have maids. We have a cook. They just really, really took care of you as if you're walking down the street, and as a player, it was like you were Magic Johnson or somebody. You walk down the street and everybody's looking at you. You walk down the street, they walk past you, and they try to bump you just to touch you. Because they loved it so much, and they loved the sport, and then I was a good player over there. So I had a great time. It's just when I got back here, the reason we came back to the States is because we wanted Michael to start school here in the States. But if we had known how good the international schools were, we probably would have been there a couple more years.
Well, the issues are challenging, because when you start coaching the Sparks, how did that come about? And then you were assistant coach at Cal State Long Beach for the girls?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How did you get involved in that?
Well, because I was involved with Rigo and them as an assistant coach. Like, I was a part-time assistant with the men. And from there, after 2 years, that was the only thing I was doing. So the money I was making when I was from playing overseas, it's
Mhm.
constantly dwindling because I'm, that's my job. Cause I came back, I got in school because I hadn't graduated. I needed another year to graduate. When I went to the Celtics, I still had school left. And then so I came back after 10 years of being, with the Celtics and overseas. And I came back and said, okay, I got to get back in school if I'm going to decide to coach, get involved in coaching.
Mhm.
And so I was a part-time assistant making $500 a month, at that time. And after 2 years, I'm like, something, I can't keep doing this. All this money's just, the money I'm making, the money I made overseas is dwindling,
Mhm.
And so one of the young ladies that was with Latanya Pollard, who was with the women's program, she was quitting because she was getting ready to take another job overseas herself. And the head coach for the women, Joan Bombasini, she saw how I was with her players. I was always talking to her players and coaching her players on the side and, doing a little different, just different individual works with them. And she asked me if I wanted to be involved with her girls. And I said, hey, this is a full-time position, definitely, and it's still basketball. It doesn't matter if it's women or what, it's still basketball. And so that's how I got involved with her on the women's side. And then we went to the Final Four back to back, those 2 years. And then she ended up leaving and went down to Arizona. And then I applied for her job and I took her job, in regards to being the head coach.
Mhm.
So after, and then that was a touchy situation because the way they wanted a woman coach, and I told them, I said, I don't care if you want a woman coach or not, but make sure she's qualified. You don't just say, we have to hire a woman because, now I can go in and sue, I can do whatever I want in regards to that matter. But, they ended up hiring me and I missed out on a lot of recruiting, because of the timeline that they did. So the first year we ended up going to the NCAA tournament. We made it to the second round, getting got beat. Then a lot of my players, Tracy Jackson, a lot of people graduated. And so then I was left with some players that weren't that good. And then plus I had to get walk-on players that really weren't that good. So we ended up winning 7 games after the first year we won 22 games. The second year we won 7. Then with the third year, we won 11. And then the fourth year, we won 14. And the fifth year, they released me. They said that they're looking for, they wanted to go in a different direction. And I'm like, you want to go in a different direction. And each year you've seen how I've improved. You understood what the situation was when I first got the job, but that's the situation. So my 5th year, they released me. And but they put me in as the director of the intramural sports for that last year. So they paid me for my 5th year, but I had to still be there and work. So I became the director of intramurals, and that's when I ended up retiring. I ended up being. They said if you go in, if you do a pretty good job, maybe you'll be here forever. And I ended up being there 22 years as the director of intramurals. But during that time with the intramurals is when I met with Penny Toller, who was the GM for the Sparks, and she played for me at Long Beach State. She was on the women's team when we went to the Final Four, and so she had talked to Michael Cooper, and told him that I was available, if he wanted to interview me about being involved with them, and so we clicked up, hit it off perfect, right from the beginning. About his philosophies and my philosophies. And then both of us were all about the defense and stuff. And so it ended up being, we got there together and then we ended up winning back-to-back championships, So then I was just kind of tired of basketball. I just, about the coaching. And so I take a leave of absence from intramurals during the summers so I could be with the WNBA. And then I just kind of like, something that I'm not putting my whole effort, into the recruiting, going out, watching, scouting players. And I just felt comfortable just taking charge of the intramural program.
Yeah, you can be home more. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing is Coop and Penny showed up for your retirement of your jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did both. Yeah,
yeah. And a lot of other important people showed up, but that was a very, I attended that too. That was just a great affair, your attendance there. Now, if you had some messages for young people who are, in today's sport of basketball has changed. We didn't have a shot clock. We didn't, my year, they wouldn't even let us dunk. But
No, I know.
and then we didn't have the 3-pointer.
Nope.
You understand? So how would you coach or discuss with young players who wanted to play the game today? If you had a message for them, if they came to you for advice, what would you tell them?
Honestly, Ron, I just tell people, because you get some kids that come up to me and they want to know, what do you think? That somebody, especially when somebody comes and says, somebody tells them that they can't play. You're not very good. Why don't you just settle for playing JV or? And I just let them know. I said, don't ever let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do. The biggest thing is you giving every bit of the effort that you have, because you don't want to ever look back and say, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. Everybody's not going to make it. That's one thing I do tell them. I said, but if you're really serious about it and you have a passion for it, then you have to go after it. And you can't let other people determine, what's going to happen with your future. You have to be the one to force yourself, because you're going to get tired some days. You don't want to work out. You don't want to practice. But, in order to be as good as you think that you are or think that you want to be, you have to sacrifice going out, doing little things. But you have to never let anybody tell you that you can't do something.
Yeah, you got to put work in.
And that's what I always tell them, is somebody else outworking you. They'll outwork you, and just that one day they could take your spot, if you just decide you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I get a lot of kids that that ask me that question, what would you do? I just let them know I'm gonna bust my butt, because and sometimes you're not gonna be as talented as somebody else, but you can't say that you didn't give it your best effort.
Okay. And also, that was they came to your retirement, and then Kelvin Coulter came to your retirement of your jersey, the referee for the NBA. You have developed some strong relationships with many of the athletes that went through Cal State Long Beach and things of this nature. How do you cultivate those type things? As far as developing strong relationships where, Kevin Coulter, he's an NBA player, Coop show up to the retirement, Penny shows up, and, it was just a great affair, affair.
But I think, Ron, you gotta be humble. That's one thing, first of all. And I really just have a care for people.
Yeah.
And I try, and I don't care, I can have 20 championships or, 20 championships or whatever it is, that's just, it's nice, but I like to just be myself with people and just talk to people and be honest with people. And, and if there's something I can do to help them, I'm not going to talk to them. Like Rigo and everybody else knows that if they ask me a question, I'm not going to lie to them. I'm not going to talk to them and say what they want to hear. If this is what I feel, I'm going to say, this is what I feel about it. Now you think about it, but that's just, I don't know. It's always just been how I've always been. And I think that, just being around so many people constantly, you just don't want people to take advantage of other people. And, and everybody, nobody's on the same page, most of the time. And so then I just say what's on my mind. This is what I feel. And I try to be as honest as I can.
And the most important thing is your wife played a good role with the athletes. So many as a counselor, helping them choose their classes and helping them get through school and being there in consultation also. And she played a great role with you also, and at Cal State Long Beach as
Mhm.
a
Yep.
counselor and a supporter of athletes, particularly, both men and women. And that also contributed, as well as your son going to Stanford, your daughter going and being the athletic director at UC Irvine and assistant athletic director.
Mhm.
And your son, I think he played ball for Stanford, and you know, I mean, you know, those are success stories, a family success story, and a family working together.
Right, exactly. And it's all about working. It's really about working together, you know, and
Yeah,
especially, I mean, Renee and I've been married for 45 years,
yeah.
you know, and it's like every day something new still, you know, it's just something new. And but then she's always been involved with the students. I always say today, if I was a coach right now, she'd be my she'd be my assistant coach.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean being honest, you know, because you know they have people that take care of this and they keep take care of that. Well, she does all that already, you know. So, you know, it's just a situation that she's passionate towards our relationship, but then she's passionate about seeing these younger people develop and, you know, make a career out of whatever they're trying to do and understand that they can push themselves to be better all the time. And so
right there is an example of strong Black male-female relationships and a strong Black family with two parents, and how that works out in the modern day. In the old days, they had parents and men, and that's what led to many of us growing up further, because the mothers and the fathers were together.
right.
And to be married 45 years and still be in love and still be together and to have the successful children and grandchildren and things is a beautiful thing, an example also for the athletes to see that, to see the harmony and the integrity in a male-female relationship. In other words, they didn't see you out drinking, they didn't see you out chasing
Right.
women on the team and all that stuff. They knew you was at peace with your wife, she was at peace with you, and y'all worked for their interest. And that was a beautiful thing. You know, I mean, you know me, Glenn, you know, I had my grandkids try to get mentored by y'all, you know. They was on a different, they were space cadets, you know, but still, they're doing okay right now, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
But schools just wasn't in their taste, you know. But still, I just want to say how much I appreciate our friendship. We put on the reunion with me, you, Tap, and Sam, and all that. See, and we brought all the players back together for a reunion. We're gonna try to do it again after COVID goes down.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, and we had football players, basketball players, referees, former coaches. All of them turned out to that affair, and it was just a great thing.
That's how it should be, though. You know, because we're still all family. You know, we're all family. You know,
and that's one criticism I have at Cal State. They don't deal with their basketball alumni, in my opinion, as far as building a strong booster or support of the former players. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you know something. I've talked to Andy Fee, and he understands. He's trying to work on getting that a lot better, honestly, because even he knows he's made mistakes in regard to that, because he's only been there 4 years now, 5 years, and he's got a lot of people that are holdovers that he's trying to get rid of. You know, the big thing I've told him too is the fact that there's never ever been a person of color in administration in athletics. Now we've had Black coaches, but never a Black administrator, never somebody that runs the fundraising, Black athletic director, or nothing ever. It's never been done. And I told him that, you know, we've talked about that, you know, that this doesn't make any sense, that we haven't been able to get a Black person in administrative position on that campus. Now, hopefully, if things go properly the way it should be, then my daughter might be that first one. because
Okay.
she's going after this job that they're getting ready to open up. And they, it's a pretty much it's an athletic director at Long Beach. The person that was there before, she was a senior administrator, and for the women's senior administrator, and she retired, recently. And everybody knows that Alexis is at UC Irvine, and they're always talking, we got to get your daughter over here. We got to get your daughter. Well, okay, now here's your chance. I told them, this is your chance. You keep saying you want her here, and she wants to be here. So, okay, let's see what you're going to do. So it should be opening up in the next week or two. And then she's going to apply for that job. And, so we'll see what happens from there. Because she just got a position. She just got it for some reason. She just got a call from Boston College. Boston University just contacted her 2 days ago, which is just out of the clear blue about a position there as far as an athletic directorship there. And she's like, well, Dad, you and Mommy don't want both of us back in Boston. I said, no, we don't. But they'll tell you what, if it's a good ass job, you take your ass out there. So we'll see. But they haven't done enough, like you said, not just for the Black, hiring, but with our basketball program for sure, they don't do enough, in regards to keeping. Every other year, they seem like, hey, Glenn, do you have so-and-so's number? No, you guys should have those numbers. Why do I have to keep them every year? You guys should have it. Contact them, let them know what's going on, send out little, little flyers saying, hey, this is what's happening. You get the emails, let people know, invite them to games. I mean, come on, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, it's volleyball seemed to have taken over the pyramid to a certain degree. But my point is that basketball is one of their glamour sports, one of their major sports. They don't have a football team.
No.
And it seemed like they should put more resources into having more activities for former players, because that helps your recruitment. That helps them. You have kids. Other kids, a lot of the former players are assistant coaches,
right?
Like Earl and all that. And these Long Beach Poly students are going to SC and going to UCLA versus Cal State Long Beach, and
right down the street.
Yeah, and that's it. But Rashiki, you just put a picture up. Tell us who all that was, and then we can go ahead and if nobody have any more questions, let Glenn get some rest. Go ahead, Rashiki. Tell us that picture. Y'all was at a pub or something.
Let me see. Yeah,
you, D'Anthony.
I think that was that at Legends.
Yeah, that was at Legends. Yeah, let me pull it up so everybody can see it better than that. Let me stop it there. And I'll tell you who everybody is. There goes D'Anthony. D'Anthony, you have a question or comment for Coach?
Yeah, because I'm sorry, that was my work and they hit me on the other line with, I wanted to talk about what a surreal feeling it was, him coming from South Central LA, going to Long Beach State, playing with Tark, then Lute Olson, going to the NBA, but coming back and coaching us that first year. How did that feel?
That was awesome. That was awesome. We had ballers who didn't know they were ballers. Just put it that way. You know how you're not sure. You're not sure what you have. D'Anthony was long, thin, lanky, but he knew how to play. But then at the same time, Coach Palmer wasn't sure how to use him. So it was just, and then you have Billy Walker, who was one of the better assist players, that can get the ball to anybody. Yeah, I don't know. It was a surreal feeling that to come back and be able to get involved. Because I had no clue that I was going to be involved with Long Beach State basketball. And then to be able to do that, and even though I wasn't a full-time assistant, I felt like I was. you know,
You weren't?
and the players really respected me, and so that helped a great deal. But it was just surreal just to be involved with it. You know, everybody wants to come back to their alma mater and be able to be a part of it. And D and I have talked about it before because he should have been on the staff right now. He should be on the staff, but things sometimes don't work out, and you know, you just move on and deal with it, and then you go from there. But I was fortunate.
Okay, you wanted me to tell you who everybody was right here.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
this was at Legends, a big time, bar in Long Beach on
I was
what's the
there
street it's
yesterday.
on? Second Street?
Second.
Second Street in Long Beach. Okay. So you got right here to the left, you got Reggie Wallace, a transfer from Oregon. I think he came in 85. He went to the University of
Yeah, he
Oregon.
came 85,
Came in
85.
84.
84?
No, you were
Okay.
there at 84.
Reg was red shirt in there.
Well, yeah, okay, all right.
Okay, then you got Billy Walker, the point guard. He held the assist record for years. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, then we got DeAnthony Langston, which is the legend right there, our center. Then you got the great coach McDonald. Then you have myself right here. I was a transfer from Washington State, and I came in '86. That was my first year there. I did 2 years. So we were responsible for the program getting turned back around, bringing back the glory days our senior year. So that's a little credit for us. But yeah, that's who this was on the picture. Yeah. All right.
Now, Rigo, did you play for Coach Ravling as well?
No, I was recruited by Coach Ravlin, and he went to Iowa. And then when I had committed to Washington State while he was the coach, and he left, and then I didn't have a scholarship because he wasn't able to pull me over at Iowa. He said, so I was left in the cold, but the other coach, Coach Stevens, saw me play, and he said, okay, yeah, we want him. So I went there for a couple of years, but it didn't work out. And that's when I joined you guys, and we had a great time. Real good time.
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
The thing I like about that group is that you guys still stay together. You guys keep in contact with each other. It's a true family. You know, you guys really keep in contact with each other. You, Reg, Billy, you know, you guys, I really.
Moreland, Jeff Easton.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we keep Daryl Faulkner, you know.
Oh, Daryl, yeah. But, I talk to him every now and then too.
Oh, man, I hit D Falk up early in the morning, every morning.
Yeah, he tells me, yeah, you early in the morning.
Falky, what you doing, Falky? Oh, this is my teammate right now. He called me Falky, you know. No, but what was great though, now you see the difference of athletics, well, from today to yesterday. I mean, we had Suzanne Warzer that was over the whole academic, whole athletics.
No, exactly.
Yeah. But at least we had Coach McDonald and Renee to give us some foundation. You know, we knew how to read it, right? You know, so we were able to go over there and have a sense of being home and having parents with us. So, I mean, that went on for decades and decades, not just stuff right there.
Yeah.
Every student, you know, fencing, whatever, volleyball, whatever. Yeah, you know the McDonald's? Of course we know the McDonald's, you know, but yeah, that's a testament, Coach, to you and your wife. We really needed it back then. And, you know, you just, you know, as a young kid, you don't know what's really going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But to be able to have a place with two strong Black, you know, adults in the house that really cared about us, that you guys weren't playing. I mean, none of us became academically ineligible. You know what I'm saying?
No.
That didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Renee sat down with us and what we needed, this and that, okay. And we was on it. And it's so funny that, you know, the guys that came in together, Enrico, like one year later, Moreland, Billy, Jeff Easton, Reggie, you know, I mean, you know, we talk all the time. Me, Moreland, and Billy and Rigo every week.
Yeah.
We used to come over to Coach McDonald's
Yeah.
house and watch New Edition, bruh. Oh my, he had cable TV over there. We were like going nuts over there, man.
Yeah. And
Michael Jackson.
you wouldn't go home until Michael Jackson.
I had to see Billie Jean Beat It or something, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was not, I'm not going to that dorm without that right there.
we're going to bed, B, when Michael Jackson finishes and you just lock the door.
Hey, Glenn, I got a message from one of your former ball players. He went to Poly too, but he played, I think he may have played for Boston. Matt Calvin.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Matt
That's
Calvin
good.
wanted to say hello. I mean, he's going to speak at my son's school principal, where he's a principal, in the next week or two. And I'm going to go and hear him. But I'm going to let him know you returned it warmly.
Yeah,
All right.
for sure.
All right, Rashaki, won't you go ahead and talk about what's going to happen this Wednesday? And unless there's some other burning questions anybody have, Ernest Hall, anybody.
Well,
Hey, Coach, I got one more for Coach. This is gonna blow. Well, I was gonna say sleepy. Rob, brother Rob. Listen, the stories. Listen. Did you know this right here, Rigo Moore? This is for you, host. That Long Beach State could have and had 2/3 of this. Raymond Lewis, Ed Ratliff, and George Gervin at the school. Did you know that?
I just found out tonight. I didn't know I know they recruited Raymond Lewis, but yeah, I just found that out tonight.
And Lewis Brown.
Imagine that three, and Lewis Brown. If you had, oh my God, that's a national championship if those guys are playing
They
together.
worked that summer. They worked that summer in the summer.
Oh yeah, they did.
The NC2A youth program, summer program, Lewis Brown and Raymond Lewis.
Right.
And then Cal State LA came in, started buying cars and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
That was it, bro. Like UCLA, Kareem or Louis Sender at that time had a special made Mercedes because he was so tall, you know. I mean,
Tell you what, though, I don't know what would have happened with that group because I think Raymond and Ed might have had a conflict because Raymond didn't like give up that ball.
yeah.
With Iceman too.
Oh my God!
We're
Where did
talking
Lewis
about
Brown go to?
Lewis, he was in Vegas with Tark.
Vegas. He went to Vegas. That's right.
Yeah, he ended up going up there, but damn, maybe I might not have been there with all that. But I still played defense, so it would have kept me.
Raymond and Lewis made their transition.
Yeah.
So it's a sad situation. But go ahead, Rashaki. Let's close this on out, brother. Oh my, Ernest, you took your mute off. You have a question or comment? I guess he don't. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rashaki.
Let me share the screen. So on the home page, here's Coach McDonald. Then you have us on Wednesday, the CEN show. I got my nephew coming on. He's an aspiring musical artist. So he's a youngster, 18-year-old. I'm going to interview him, and I'm going to have some interesting questions for him. And for everybody that's here, we're always here on Mondays and Wednesdays, majority of the time. And you can join anytime. Anytime. Just come on. So that's who we have. Okay. Professor Ra, who we got next week?
I think we're gonna have brother Ronnie Foster. He just did a book signing up at Fox Hill Mall, and he went to Ghana and stayed there. And he got a lot of good information about Ghana. He stayed there about 2 months, and he brought back a lot of information. Dr. B. Sensalo, who've been to Uganda, where he said that they locked down their city, their area for 2 years for COVID, and that they had the less COVID outbreaks without Western medicine. They, they didn't get hardly no vaccines and nothing, but they really, they got rid of COVID by locking everybody in. And that's going to be interesting. He's going to tell you all about Uganda, or either Ronnie who's going to talk about Ghana. But at the same time, I want to thank DeAnthony for when he came on and all the good information he provided. And again, Glenn, the grains of sand are few on the ocean floor in comparison to the many things we give to you for taking your time out. We would like to get Coulter on. We would like to get Penny on. We would like any other people that you would like to tell them that they could come on. We appreciate it. We just try to build our situation up, and those that have even critical issues that they want to talk about. We talk about sports. We talk about general any issues like Rashkeed just said. Rashkeed just said his nephew's coming in and going to talk about music. We had my son on talking about what's going on in Cherry Creek, where he's director of diversity at that Unified School District. Just left University of Denver, the director of Black students, and now he's a director of. He was a director of Black Student Services. Now he's a director of diversity, and president of the NAACP in Aurora. And his fiance is running for commissioner out there, a county commissioner. So he's very active there. Then my other son was on, who Mac is going to speak at his school, talking about crypto money, which that throws me off. I like the old stuff. Y'all can have all that crypto money.
You ain't lying, boy.
I'm old school, but I respect everybody want to go that way, investments and things of this nature. But go ahead, Rashi, keep closing on out.
So, Coach McDonald, I appreciate you. Much love.
Appreciate
and,
you.
And then we definitely want to get Renee on here. We got to get Renee.
I'm gonna tell her. You told her already, so now at least she knows.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be now. I'm gonna be bugging y'all, but yeah. So we got a Conscious Corner, this show, and we got the CN show on Wednesday, and we want to say each one teach one, and everybody have a good evening.
All right.